Just go around. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Chad.
Welcome to Over the Ledge Live, the podcast, the #1 and some say only political satire show based solely on the Texas legislature. Due to popular demand, and I mean one demand from our one fan, we're back with season 2 just in time for the 87th Texas legislature, which convened on Tuesday, January 12th. Over the Ledge gives you a behind-the-scenes look at the shenanigans of the Texas legislature by decoding political headlines and legislators' behavior into easy-to-understand mom jokes. We're just as funny, but not as famous. Yet. Did you see the feature of Over the Ledge on Spectrum News earlier this month? We've seen some things, and so can you. Check it out on our Facebook page. Let's meet our guest tonight. First up, Aaron hails from the crown jewel hidden in the mesquite trees, Kingsville, Texas. Aaron Salinas has been hooked on making people giggle since he first made a fart noise with his hand in 2nd grade. Aaron is an actor, writer, director, and podcaster. You can catch him on his podcast, Shame Watch, or streaming video games on Twitch with the Con Save. He has a...
Interrupt, yes, Aaron. Come on, fix this.
I sent in a new one. I don't... Lily, Stephanie's gonna get mad at me, and she throws things at me.
Just compliments. I just throw shade. I do not.
She tells me to go to her house, and then she just throws things from her door because we're still doing social distancing.
Because when I show up, I have to bring baked goods. Why are you? I don't understand why you're complaining.
There's your problem right there.
Yeah, we have a different relationship, Chad.
So everybody check in with us next episode for Aaron's new and improved bio.
No fart jokes this time, I guess.
Yeah, right. Please welcome Aaron Salinas.
Thank you.
Spoken. Do you need to speak again?
I'll stop.
Our second comedian tonight is Chad Warren, a tech support engineer, union stagehand, dog sitter, actor, casual essayist, and handy person. And on the second Thursday of every month, he writes a joke. Welcome, Chad.
Thank you.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
Next, our very special guest for this episode, the executive director of Environment Texas, a leading voice in the state for clean air, clean water, clean energy, and open space, and the ultimate bee and tree saver. Please welcome Luke Metzger.
Thank you. Thank you. So nice.
That was really sweet.
Yeah.
Right?
Finally, we have the creator and the ruler of the Over the Ledge empire, who needs no introduction, Stephanie, blocked on Twitter, Chiarello.
Is that true?
Who are you blocked by?
Ken Paxton blocked
Nice.
Over the Ledge today.
Congratulations.
Badge of honor.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he still invites me to his hotel room, but...
But
I got blocked by Rick Perry like 10 years ago or whenever Twitter first started. That was fun. Yeah.
Yes. It's nice to know they care, isn't it? Well, let's start off on a fun note. There's a bill allowing alcohol to go advance through the Texas House. If it passes, the Senate looks... Oh, we're going back in time. If it passes the Senate, looks like we'll finally earn our name, the Lone Star State.
It's about time. Like I just want to point that out. Like it's about time, as long as we do it safely.
I think so. And I also want to point out that my parents have pointed out we really need laughter in the background, and so that's y'all guys. Okay. It's really time.
Good one. Because the Lone Star.
Lone Star the beer.
Woo! All right. Matthew McConaughey is flirting with a run for governor. His politics remain a mystery, but let's just hope they're not. All right. Yes, roarous laughter. I'll do it all myself.
It sounds tempting, but it's also kind of terrifying to have
hold
him.
on, cooler if you did.
Ooh.
Yeah, I met him once at an event and kind of pitched him on, getting involved in environmental issues, and it did not click. He had zero interest, it seemed like. So, for whatever that's worth, in terms of insights.
Maybe you can elaborate, Luke. But I also heard he doesn't have the best hygiene. Can you confirm or deny?
I didn't smell anything, or it was a little unkempt, perhaps, but odor-wise, no problems.
Okay, I just don't want a
That's a
stinky
great-
governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so stinky. Chad, what were you going to say?
First film gig in Austin, Texas, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 with Matthew McConaughey. I was a carpenter. Me and my buddy Hank got hired in for 2 days to build a fake roof because Robbie Jacks was afraid of heights. He played Leatherface. So we built a fake roof on the ground so he could do the big slashing scene. I have nothing to say about McConaughey. He was not interested in making friends with the crew. How's that?
Oh,
He has changed, Chad. I
Good.
worked with him on the Newton Boys, and he was the consummate Hollywood star. He hugged old ladies. He let all of us ride in his van.
He
He's a
gave
good
them
dancer.
candy, took them to
I
his
wasn't that
house.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on. Civil rights attorney Lee Merritt, who represents several high-profile cases of Black Texans killed by police, is planning to run for attorney general. But is Texas really ready for an attorney general who has no felonies or whistleblower violations? I mean, no one can match a resume like Ken Paxton's. Speaking of Ken Paxton, the attorney general asked the Texas legislature if he could spend $340,000 of taxpayer money to fund a lawsuit against Twitter. Bless his heart. Ken Paxton has made so many bad suits. Men's Warehouse is suing him for trademark violation.
you might be named in that lawsuit, Stephanie.
Oh, I look forward to it. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is pushing a bill to restrict abortion access by making it possible for any Texan to sue abortion providers and banning abortions as early as 6 weeks. Hint, before most women know they're pregnant. Bill author Senator Brian Hughes explained, "I've never been pregnant without realizing it right away."
He's the worst. They're the worst.
They're the worst. Agricultural Commissioner Sid Miller is suing Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick for requiring COVID tests from people participating in Texas Senate hearings. Said Sid Miller, "I haven't been able to pass a 10 since elementary school, and I never let that stop me." I'm loving the laughter. Speaking of, Lieutenant Governor Patrick wanted to reverse ERCOT's high electricity charges from the winter storm. But House Speaker Dade Phelan pushed back and said high prices were needed to ensure grid stability. It was a shocking break in the Patrick Phelan honeymoon period. It's like watching your dad tell your mom to get the mail and she says, "What, are your legs broken?" And they both turn to you, but you're just a dog who doesn't understand the postal system. Hey, Tom. Hey, Janet. I'm hearing an echo. I don't
Tom,
know if
I miss
Myra
you.
is.
Janet,
Yeah.
I miss you.
You're so sweet. As longtime chairman, Charlie Guerin laid out a bill in the House Committee on Elections this week. He claimed, and I quote, "This should be a short, common sense bill." Chairman Briscoe Cain replied, "Hopefully not shorter than me. This is not a joke. That really happened. The joke is that Briscoe Cain is the chair of the Elections Committee." All right.
Not a very good one, it appears, either.
No, don't ruin it, Luke. We're getting there. Self-proclaimed parliamentary guru Briscoe Cain got himself in some trouble this week at school. I mean, at the legislature. He went to recess, but didn't say when he'd be back, forcing him to cancel the committee hearing for the day. I guess the line for the playground swings was longer than he thought.
He's so creepy looking.
He's so creepy looking. I hope that we will post this little bit of video for you to watch on our website soon. Over 50 years has passed since the Fair Housing Act, but many Texas housing deeds still contain illegal clauses that only white people can reside there, like the governor's mansion. A new bill would make it easier to remove those clauses, but advocates say it's not enough to undo generations of housing discrimination. It's kind of like a celebrity apology on Instagram. An important first step, but in the end, they're still going to let Woody Allen host The Bachelor, high school edition.
Ew.
Is that real? Like, are they still? Is there still clauses that say only white individuals?
Yeah.
Is that true?
If you're in a neighborhood in Austin that was started before 1972, you probably still have a redlining clause.
Holy
God.
shit!
ID doesn't. My house was built in '83, so I checked. So
Okay, and finally, in our returning segment, bills that don't need a punchline because they're one all by themselves, also known as bills that make me gag. Representative Scott Sanford from McKinney, Texas, filed House Bill 1171, which would require the appointment of an attorney or guardian to represent an unborn child during a court proceeding authorizing a pregnant minor to consent to an abortion. What is the lawyer going to say on behalf of this fetus? I heard Daddy said he thought Mommy's no meant yes.
Oh,
Ouch. You may reach Scott Sanford at 512-463-0356 or District Office 972-548-7500. And finally, this week, the House Committee on Public Health heard House Bill 1434 by Oliverson. This bill would prohibit healthcare practitioners from performing pelvic examinations on anesthetized or unconscious patients. Unconscious patients. That's right. Currently, healthcare practitioners may perform a pelvic exam on unconscious patients without their consent. This is not a joke.
Yikes.
Have you recently gone to the hospital for appendicitis and wondered why your vagina hurt when you woke up?
I have not.
Okay.
personally,
Good.
no.
Good. But this happens to men as well. If you went in
Aaron.
and yeah. We need a law to make this illegal. And you wonder why we have a problem with rape culture. Welcome to the show, Luke. I'm joking. That's not the segue. All right. That's all I got to say for today. Thank you.
Stephanie, that was
Uh-huh.
chilling. That happened. Okay, audience, let me tell you how this podcast works. Our two guest comedians, Aaron Salinas and Chad Warren, are competing against each other for the coveted Most Knowledgeable Comedian in Austin award. This award is given to the comedian who knows the most about Texas politics, according to the games on our show. Stephanie, show the award.
It is
No
beautiful.
way.
This is a lot of pressure
Gaze upon
because
that.
I've lost 3 times now.
That's a really cool
If I just
award.
concede now and let Aaron take the trophy, can I just do sarcastic commentary the whole way through, or do I actually need to try?
That's it. You're on then.
You can
And
do
I'm gonna-
both. They're not mutually exclusive.
What
Okay.
are we
whoever-
looking at there? What is that? Is
It's
that
a
bowling
it's a
pin?
bowling pin.
Okay. Oh, and 2
bowlers.
bowlers. I see. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Why the bowling pin is very specifically shit brown is something I don't understand yet. But
Wait, Stephanie, would you
Um,
like to explain that's not a bowling pin? It's actually
It's not a bowling pin. It's actually a gavel
Ah.
that has been stabbed into the middle here, and it's women playing with the legislator male's balls,
Mhm.
trying to get some policy passed.
That's what it is.
I have more respect for the trophy now, and I will treat
See?
it with less disregard.
Okay. See,
Why
now
it's
you want
brown.
it. Whoever wins it also gets a picture of himself with our special guest, Luke Metzger. Luke will post on social media the picture and the announcement that the winning comedian is Most Knowledgeable Comedian in Austin.
And I'll tickle their balls.
I was going to ask if you were okay with it, but it sounds like you're pretty
Oh, yeah.
It
enthusiastic.
sounds like more than okay. It's
Yeah.
Sounds like he's got some OnlyFans working.
hey.
Oh, Over the Ledge could have a little fundraising. As always, comedians can ask our special guest for help a total of 3 times apiece between the 2 games that they play. Luke, feel free to jump in at any time, but please don't give us a pop quiz on anything. All right. We're going to open things up with a hot topic, hotter than Texas ODing on greenhouse gases. This game is called Hey, Look, It's Voter Suppression. This game is about 2 bills regarding election integrity, Senate Bill 7 and House Bill 6. And they've been criticized as the worst attack on voting rights since the Jim Crow era. taking punishment for election fraud to a new extreme. Since Aaron has only just recently started participating in election, we want to make sure that he stays out of trouble if these bills become law. Let's see if our comedians can avoid jail time by answering these questions correctly. Here's how it works. This is true false style. Stephanie is going to read you a statement about these two bills, and you decide if it's true or false. The last round is a Briscoe bonus round, and those will be multiple choice.
All right, Chad, you get to go first. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm showing you my hands to prove I am not Googling.
Oh, that's good. We should crack down on that.
Okay, one moment. I'm looking at some notes on this doc. Okay, got it. True or false?
True.
Correct. Under Senate Bill 7, a public official who encourages someone to submit an absentee ballot application who did not request one has committed a felony.
That is true.
That is true.
That's
A felony.
felony.
A felony, yes.
Yes, fun fact. Go ahead, Luke.
Oh, I had nothing to say.
Okay. Better
just-
not.
yeah.
It'll be a felony. You didn't want to talk to a voter, did you? That too could be a felony. Fun fact, it would also be a felony for a public official to distribute an absentee ballot application to anyone who hasn't requested one, or for them to distribute an absentee ballot to anyone who did not request one. That says the same thing. Yeah, can't do this, guys. We're just moving on to question 2. Aaron, true or false? An application for an absentee ballot on the ground of disability must include or be accompanied by a video that captures the said disability. True or false?
First of all,
Yes, sir.
I don't like being outed that I'm just beginning to participate in elections. The first election I could have participated in was taken away from me, so I skipped the next one as their lesson learned. But that I learned in the long run, that was my lesson learned. So just pointing that out, but I'm going to say false.
You are correct. However, yes, that's right. You don't have to submit a video of your disability. That would be ridiculous. Instead, you must have one of the following: a written document from the United States Social Security Administration or the United States Department of Veteran Affairs, or a certificate from a licensed physician or chiropractor, or accredited, I'm not joking, Christian Science practitioner.
Oh God, this state sucks.
Aren't they worried that some of their supporters are going to have trouble with these? Maybe not.
It's just
I can no longer go, Chad.
How are they going to get around violating patient doctor confident? Like that is a HIPAA violation on the face of it.
I'm sure it's an ADA violation. They don't care. They don't. And by the way, a legislature can pass something that's unconstitutional, and they're not the ones who decide constitutionality.
That's true.
Ted Cruz is.
Exactly.
And the 6-3 conservative Supreme Court. So
it astounds me like at how difficult it is to truly vote, and just how at risk our rights are to vote. Like it's
Yeah, they're trying to make it very, very hard. Back to you, Chad. Imagine a poll watcher is standing right behind you, carefully counting your neck hairs, but claim they can count your neck hairs without seeing your ballot choices. Are they permitted by this new bill to stand this close?
They are.
Indeed, this is true. Screw the constitutional right to ballot privacy. The bill says that a poll watcher can lawfully maintain a close distance so that they can both see and hear you. By that logic, they might as well be giving you a lap dance.
back up. I don't like that.
So a poll watcher is not an election judge or an assistant judge or one of the people who check you in or can help you with the machine. They're literally just somebody who's decided that they want to watch.
I could do it like right now, right? Like I have the grounds to be a poll watcher.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you'd be able to see how someone voted. You'd be close enough to be able
Can
to see.
I be a watcher of poll watchers?
Yeah, we can add that.
I'm
That'd
going to
a good
be a
amendment.
brigade that goes to do that. You want in, Chad?
I think that's what the Trump campaign did this last
Shit.
election.
Watchers of watchers.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of watchers of watchers.
Who watches the watchers? The watchers.
Get some T-shirts about that.
Okay, I'm getting this in. You actually have to be appointed by an official campaign, but I'll appoint you, Aaron, and I'm running for governor. Oops, it's out.
What?
Where are we on language for this podcast?
You can say whatever you want, but
Okay,
I don't like anti-women words, Chad. I don't like
boogery-
anti-women curse words.
That's fair. This isn't. I was going to say some of the booger-eating cousin fuckers that showed up to poll watch in Florida and Massachusetts and Arizona, like they may have been appointed by a campaign, but there was no literacy test and or rational thought sort of tapped. I'm going to stop talking now because this whole topic makes me angry. Go ahead.
All right, next question, Chad.
Cool. Yeah, let's ask the question.
No, it's
Wait,
Aaron.
no, it's Aaron.
It's Aaron's turn.
Aaron.
You just keep trying to throw me
I
under this
do.
election bus.
Okay, you're going to love this one. Are you ready, Aaron?
Sure.
Imagine you're casting a ballot and a poll watcher is video recording you for their OnlyFans page. Can they record you? And if so, how many tips are you going to get on OnlyFans?
Well, typically, if it's my tank top, that's been providing me a little bit more. So I believe that is true because Texas sucks. And I'm probably going to say anywhere between the range of like 55 to 75 is what I've been averaging.
That's wonderful. Well, you're right. And mom and dad, OnlyFans is a content subscription service. It's really on-demand porn from people you like. That's my understanding. I only pay for cameos. All right, you're right, Aaron. True. Only a poll watcher can have a recording device at a polling station. Under this law, they would be allowed to record you so long as they do not capture the results from your ballot.
Chad had pointed out that boogers serve an important function. So I was also right.
-1 for attitude, Chad. Okay, back to Chad.
Fair.
Let's see if you were paying attention earlier in my monologue jokes that were hilarious. Briscoe Kane got an F for committee chairing this week when his recess actually turned into a cancel due to what administrative mistake? A, failed to recognize a member of the committee. B, failed to say what time they'd return from recess. C, failed to say what they'd be playing at recess. D, used a pencil instead of a pen.
It was, I don't remember the letters, but it was, he failed to, let me just say that in my mind, I call him Briscoe Caney Jr. because he looks like a Sam Raimi villain. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, he totally does.
So he failed to stipulate the time that they would return from recess, functionally calling it a permanent recess, and therefore canceling testimony on House Bill 6.
Correct. Actually, he could have kept giving testimony and receiving testimony, but it would have been a point of order later that we could have used against him. I cannot wait, Sean, my intern, to get this up on our video so you can watch this very, very uncomfortable conversation. That was 5 questions. Next question, still about Briscoe Kane. True or false, Aaron? Briscoe Kane refused to recognize Chairman Nicole Collier, the chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, from participating in the election hearing because she was not a member of the committee.
True.
True.
God, he's just a terrible fucking human being, dude. Like,
and generally, they always allow any member on the dais where the other members are, and they let them ask questions. That's just been some industry courtesy that no longer exists. I'm just going to give you some facts. Amy, tell me how the members did. I think our comedians.
Well, they would be neck and neck, except Chad lost 1 point for attitude. So Aaron's ahead.
Okay, Chad, I'm going to give you an opportunity to get that point back. If this law passes, which of the following will be a felony? Child enticement, assault with bodily injury, cruelty to animals, or perjury? And I want you to know this is a bit of a trick question.
I'm going to assume perjury, but you said the trick question, so perjury.
Okay, none of these are felonies. These things are all misdemeanors. Child enticement, assault with a bodily injury, cruelty to animals, and perjury. But if you want to give someone an absentee ballot who didn't request it, felony. Wow.
What is felony? That's like 5-10 years at least, right, baby?
Yeah. I just want you to know how we rank the importance of children, assault, animals, and perjury, and lying.
I feel this is stupid, but what's child enticement?
What do you think it is, Aaron?
Is that where you like try and lure a child?
Yeah, it's what they keep burning people on TikTok for.
Wow, this is so dark. Move on,
Holy
Amy.
Shit.
Move
How
us
is that
on.
not a felony?
Well,
Move on. Let's go, Amy.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. 3-3 with the questionable loss of a point.
Okay.
All right. Our guest, Luke Metzger, is a lobbyist for Environment Texas. So the next game we're going to play is the environment or whatever game, because we all have to care about the environment, I guess. Let's see which comedian actually recycles. My bet is on Aaron. He's pretty good at recycling jokes.
I'm fucking leaving.
I didn't write that.
I didn't either. This game is played fill in the blank style, but it's still multiple choice, so don't panic. Aaron, Chad, any questions?
I would like to point out I do compost.
Woo.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good first start.
Points? Any point?
Should we get a point for that?
Let's put, he has a potential point. Let's see how he does. Okay, and I think, Amy, you were supposed to say the environment or whatever. Okay.
The environment.
And I guess we should care, Luke. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to start with Chad again, because he's the special guest and maybe a point behind.
And
House Bill. I'm so glad you're right. And don't forget, you can ask Luke for help on 3 questions. Okay.
Oh, on like the lifeline?
Yes. And
Awesome.
you should know these. I'm actually going to tell Environment Texas if you get any of them wrong. Okay, HB 1683, which prohibits cities from enforcing federal regulations on blank, could force the city of Austin to close Barton Springs Pool. You get 2 points if you just fill it in, Chad. But if you want me to read you the multiple choice questions, you have the potential for 1 point.
Read the question again, because I missed where the blank was.
Okay, House Bill 1683, which prohibits cities from enforcing federal regulations on blank, could force the city of Austin to close Barton Springs Pool.
Federal regulations on oil and gas exploration. I think I remember calling this the Snitches Get Stitches bill, because if the city involves the federal to investigate environmental violations by any company that Texas has a contract with in terms of oil and gas exploration, the city loses funding if the bill passes. Snitches get stitches.
Excellent. 2 points for Chad, Amy.
Yeah.
Very good.
Save the salamanders.
That was one of the choices. Good job, Aaron. All right, Aaron, this is to you. House Bill 520 would require utilities to install blank after they dig along state highways. 2 points if you guess, 1 point if I give you options.
520.
Require utilities to install blank after they dig along state highways.
I feel like it's going to be stupid.
The bodies of my enemies is not the answer.
I was going to say wildflowers. Wildflowers?
Yep, native and pollinator-friendly plants. I'll give it to you. Yeah, good job.
Wow, 2 points.
Because we're paying for a separate crew to do that now. So if they just dump it off on the utilities.
Luke, can you tell us who's going to pay?
Yeah, so basically the TxDOT, of course, plants seeds and they bloom in the springtime, the wildflowers. The bees and monarch butterflies need flowers and habitat all year round. And so this would make sure that the utilities, when they are digging, since they are digging to put in fiber optic cable or pipelines or whatever, that rather than just putting grass or sod on top, that they put in some native landscaping that can help the monarch butterflies, for example, as they migrate 3,000 miles, have a place to stop and rest and have a drink. Yeah.
I actually saw my first monarch today.
Oh yeah,
coming back. Yeah.
Cool.
Great story. Okay. I think it's back to Chad. House Bill 4063 would make sure blank can repair their own equipment and not have to pay the manufacturers to do it. Blank can repair their own equipment.
I want to say farmers.
You should say farmers.
I want to say farmers.
Exactly. Ding, ding, ding.
And it's
2
because
points.
John Deere in the last decade has made their tractors software. Not only I've forgotten all of my words. It's pressure. You can't fix your own tractor without setting up a service call, and it's a minimum $200. So literally, there's been a Bosnian software hacking group that's been rewriting John Deere software and releasing it for free on the web.
Wow. Thank you, Bosnia.
Right? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It also contains a lot of Russian bugs. Anyway.
There was a Vice video essay recently on this, right? Like why farmers are trying to like take their equipment back or something.
Yeah, Vice has been covering this a lot. It's a huge issue. And same problem true with like your iPhone or like other devices. Like people just don't have the right to fix their own stuff anymore. You have to like bring it into the manufacturer, et cetera. And that's screwed up. And that results in, people just throwing out stuff. They're like, I guess it's too much to fix it. I'll just buy a new one. So that's just creating a lot of waste. And it's also just, expensive.
Stupid.
Stupid. Yeah.
It's made the market for 20-year-old tractors go through the roof.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
All right.
All right. There's a pretty good joke here I want to say that our intern wrote. It says, blah, 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 laws requiring manufacturers to provide easy access to necessary tools, software, parts, and documentation. Although maybe we should include 24-hour fitness in this law because those ellipticals are always out of order. Because that was going to be one of the choices. So good job. Okay, back to Aaron. You guys are killing it today. I'm really impressed. Senate Bill 1, which includes full use of the blank sales tax, goes to our Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, state parks, historic sites, and local park grants. I'll read it again. SB 1, which by the way is the budget, which includes full use of the blank sales tax, goes to our Texas Parks and Wildlife Department.
I have an idea what I want to say, but I want to call on Luke.
All right. I guess I should give just a hint, right? Not just say the answer.
No, you can go ahead and give it. That's why they're calling you.
Sporting goods sales tax.
Oh, I was going to say alcohol. I was going to say alcohol sales tax.
It used to be cigarettes.
And
in like 93, they thought that was unseemly to fund our parks with cigarette taxes, and cigarette taxes were declining, thankfully. And so they switched it to things like, soccer shoes and balls and fishing rods and bikes.
That makes sense.
Like that. Which, people use in our parks. So.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. There's some cute shit in this episode. I really like this.
I'm always in this episode, Aaron.
Little butterflies drinking water off flowers and stuff. I like this.
So not everything about Texas sucks.
We're okay.
Yeah, and the environment is never whatever.
Man, you were itching for that one, weren't you?
Boomer say so. Okay, Chad. Senate Bill 1303 and House Bill 4120 would modify the Clean School Bus Program to blank. Senate Bill 1303 and House Bill 4120 would modify the Clean School Bus Program to
include bulletproof seats.
Oh.
Or I'm gonna wrong.
I'll use my first lifeline and say, hey Luke, do you know anything about what we're talking? Do you know?
I do. I think the answer you're looking for is probably support electric buses. Is that what you were saying? Is that the correct answer?
Well, it's prioritize electric buses,
Oh.
but I will give it to you. I'll give it. I'll give it.
Electric
Chad.
buses and also solar panels on schools is the other thing the bill would do. So it's a good bill.
What are we going to do though when the sun burns out and we use up all the solar energy because we have all these panels, Luke?
And we are fucked. So,
There's that.
Yeah.
All of these sound like tremendous ideas, and I know they will die on the floor.
Yeah.
Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
they could die in committee. It doesn't even have to get to the floor.
Yeah, you have to have some bit of optimism to work in the Texas legislature. But yeah, generally, you're probably right.
These are all great ideas. God.
Well, elections matter, Aaron, even the one you didn't vote in.
But hey, my cleats paid for the park.
That's true.
We're
One
making up
thing-
for it.
Fair point.
One thing that's funny, you mentioned bulletproof seats, which is sort of related to this. There's one school district in Texas that has electric school buses, and one of the things unexpected outcomes was that the engines are so quiet that the bus drivers can hear everything back behind them, and so discipline has improved dramatically. So
That's how
Well,
they
you
should
think-
sell it.
Republicans would like that discipline.
right, maybe they will. We'll see.
Oh, I would have hated that as a kid.
Okay, final question, Chad. Aaron.
Yeah.
House Bill 1452 would end routine blank across the state. House Bill 1452 would end routine blank across the state.
That's so.
It's too generic to just.
It's
Yeah,
a tough
I don't
one.
even know if I ever know this one.
Would you like
Or,
some choices, Aaron? They're pretty funny. I'd like to read you
Yeah,
the
let's do some choices. Let's get the writers in there.
Routine flaring, routine dumping, dance routines, routine fracking.
I'm gonna say the first one because that's what gave Luke a reaction.
Sorry, yeah, I gave it away.
That's all right. You're right. Routine flaring. Would you explain what flaring is, Luke?
Yeah. So basically, when oil companies drill, it's particularly in the Permian Basin in West Texas, oil and gas comes up. Oil is very valuable, gas a lot less so. And so a lot of times the companies don't want the gas, they don't want the hassle of dealing with it, and so they just burn it, or even worse, vent it. So and gas is methane, which is a very powerful global warming pollutant. So it's just going into the atmosphere and causing lots of problems. So yeah, flaring is huge problem, and basically because of flaring and methane leaks from oil and gas, many scientists say that gas, which is supposed to be kind of a cleaner fuel, because of all the methane, might be as dirty as coal.
So is that what you kind of see? Like if you're passing like a rig, you just see like a random.
Huge ball of fire into the sky. Yeah.
It's really pretty at night, but now that I know that it does that sucks.
Right. Well, except it's not pretty. The McDonald Observatory in West Texas, where you can see, the amazing night sky, has had a lot of problem with the flaring there, because it's just obscuring the stars for astronomers and the public. So, but yeah, it is kind of interesting looking.
We can't have a damn thing.
Not one
Also-
nice thing.
The entire city of Big Spring smells like a fart 9 months out of the year. There's that.
Gross.
Oh, I just heard a funny joke about what do you call someone who farts in private? A private tutor. All right, Amy, how did our people do?
Biggest laugh of the night. They are neck and neck, depending on how strict we're going to be about that attitude problem.
Well, I'm not going to be strict, and I love a tiebreaker, so not that I have one ready. Okay, Aaron and Chad.
Yes.
Single elimination. What problem? So, Aaron, you get to try to answer first. If you get it right, I'll give Chad another question. If you do not get it right, Chad can steal.
Okay.
Okay. Environment Texas, TexPerk, and 130 other groups sent a letter to Whole Foods Market asking them to do what? You may not ask Luke. This is
Okay.
You're all alone.
This is just a hunch, but to not wrap foods with their own casing, if you want to say, like wrapping a banana or wrapping an orange.
Can you be more specific about casing?
Like without an orange that has a peel or a banana that has a peel.
They shouldn't be wrapped in
plastic.
Wow, good job, Aaron.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know that was I worked at HEB for a while, and I know that was a huge plummeting factor for Whole Foods when they unwrapped or unpeeled an orange and put it in a plastic container and sold it.
Okay.
But one of the people I follow on TikTok, Crutches and Spice, is a disability advocate, and she actually talks about this in at least one or two different videos. And the fruit that's been unwrapped and is packaged on the shelf is beneficial to a very specific group of people who don't get help. People
Correct.
who can't peel their own fruit can buy that and at least get access to fresh food that isn't out of a can.
Yeah, and I totally get that too, and I know it's kind of like a big like divide because like it's wasteful, but at the same time it does provide fresh food to a certain group. So like I get it. Like it's and I wish like the campaign for the people who like fought against that kind of like thought about that consideration too, because I know like Whole Foods completely did away with their cut prepared foods for a while.
Okay, moving on, because we do want to interview Luke, and we've already been online for 40 minutes. And it's only a 45-minute show, Luke, so awkward. I'm joking. We'll let it go longer. Chad, true or false? This is about elections again. Senate Bill 1112 would allow a voter to appoint a representative to sign for them, but failure to do so would result in a criminal offense.
True.
Very good. Aaron,
Shit.
back to you. Senate Bill 331 would allow an interpreter under oath to assist with the voting process, but would not allow the interpreter to accompany a person to the ballot.
True.
Correct. Chad, Kane was on the varsity cheerleading squad in high school.
Briscoe Kane? Oh, clearly. Very definitely.
I don't know. Lily? I'm looking at my. I'm looking at. Okay, what is the okay? Back to you, Aaron. What is the name of the combined dojo on Cobra Kai at the end of season 3?
What? Damn it! I don't.
Chad, can you steal?
Bonsai Kai. I don't know.
Chad.
Oh, I didn't watch the show.
Okay, you both fail. I win. That's it. Let's go. It's Eagle Fang, as everyone knows. Okay, actually,
Eagles don't have teeth.
That's the joke, Chad.
It's not funny.
I like how mad Chad was.
Yeah, I think you should get more points for sass.
I worked at a bar called King Bee, and I had to listen to people explain to me fucking every night that there are no king bees because there's only queen bees and drone bees.
Yeah. Okay,
And
Chad
like,
and Aaron, you are both the winner. Congratulations.
First tie.
First tie.
First and only tie. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm glad
Mariah,
it's for Chad.
can you everyone look really happy? Mariah's going to get a picture. I think she got it. Okay, now before we move on to our interview with Luke, that's going to last 1 minute and 15 seconds, I want to let y'all know that we're actually doing something differently this week, which means we are broadcasting to more than just our Facebook page. We're also broadcasting to YouTube and to something called Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, which the kids are using. So if you are watching our show, please comment where you're watching this and if you're new. I'm sure my parents are still watching it on KLRU. Or this flip. All right, let's introduce Luke.
All right,
Okay.
now it is time to meet our very special guest, Luke Metzger. Luke is the executive director of Environment Texas. He has led successful campaigns to win permanent protection for the Christmas Mountains of Big Bend, to compel Exxon, Shell, and Chevron Phillips to cut air pollution at 4 Texas refineries and chemical plants, and to boost funding for water conservation and state parks. The San Antonio Current has called Luke long one of the most energetic and dedicated defenders of environmental issues in the state. He has been named one of the top lobbyists for causes by Capital Inside, received the President's Award from the Texas Recreation and Parks Society for his work to protect Texas parks, and was chosen for the inaugural class of Next Generation Fellows by the Robert S. Strauss Center for International Security and Law at UT Austin. Luke, his wife, son, and daughters are working to visit every state park in Texas. Welcome, Luke.
That's a laundry list, man. Kudos.
That's a lot of hopeful successes too.
Yeah. It can be tough, challenging, depressing work, but you get you get a few wins here and there. It keeps you going.
Okay. Well, that's actually a question later, but let's just start there. What is it like to always lose? You're like constantly advocating for things that don't get passed. How do you define a victory right now at the Texas Ledge?
Yeah, great question. I think one, defensive victories, right? So there's a lot of bad stuff happening, like trying to close Barton Springs Pool. So if we can stop bad things from happening, that's a great success. And then I think there are some modest bills that often have bipartisan support on the environment. It's not always a partisan issue, and so we can get some things. Maybe for the bees, parks funding, as a great example from last session where, the legislature overwhelmingly voted, as did voters, to fully fund our parks. So you can get some definitely wins like that. And then also you just don't count on only the legislature to get wins, right? You look for other forums like, the city council or corporations like Whole Foods or the federal government. Now we can maybe get some good wins for the environment.
Let's talk about Austin. I can't remember what this bill is, the number is, but it's about any new building must only have electric hookups and not gas.
Right.
What
HB
bill
17.
is that, and what's the argument? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. HB 17. So this is a bill that the gas industry has been pushing all around the country, and basically to stop cities from requiring buildings to be electric and to reduce methane gas pollution. So some cities in California have done this, like Berkeley and other places. No city in Texas has done this yet, but the gas industry is just trying to shut it down before there's even any discussion of it. And this is a problem, of course, because we know that in order to stop the worst impacts of global warming and more extreme weather, we have to get to zero carbon. And gas in buildings is responsible for about 12% of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. So we have to be able to address that pollution. So HB 17 would shut the door, prevent cities from doing that. Definitely real bad bill that we're fighting.
I thought that natural gas was clean.
No, as I mentioned before, I think with all the methane leaks and flaring and venting that's happening, there's some estimates that show it's equal as dirty as coal, it's natural gas still provides about half of our electricity in Texas. We are, number one in global warming pollution in the United States. If we were our own country, we'd be ranked 7th in the world for countries for global warming pollution. And gas is a big, yeah.
Wow.
7.
We're winning on something.
Yeah. We like to win at bad things.
Yeah. So gas, definitely not clean. We need to be able to, move towards 100% renewable energy, something that Texas voters support. The University of Houston did a poll just a month or two ago and showed, across party lines, Texans want more clean energy. They want less fracking. They want less coal. The people get it, but unfortunately our politicians are, too many of them, take a lot of money from the oil and gas industry, and are, voting the wrong way.
Okay, you mentioned earlier global warming, which we all know is a hoax. So I wanted you to talk about evidence you have and whatever.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's see.
You had a fucking blizzard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the next question. And it's obviously cold, Aaron. Why, if there was global warming, why would it get colder?
Right. Yeah, that's why God decided to do that.
It's the gaze is why we got the storm.
Jesus.
So we've known, going back a couple centuries, that carbon dioxide is a heat trapping gas. And so when we put more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, it traps more heat. And so our atmosphere does a really great job of, it's like a blanket over the planet, kind of keeping our climate cozy and just right for human life. But the more carbon dioxide we're adding, it's like adding another blanket, another blanket, another blanket. Pretty soon you're smothering, and so, the scientists have been able to document that increase in carbon dioxide is directly linked to significant changes in our climate. So, for example, here in Texas, people may remember the awful summer of 2011, the hottest single year in Texas history, also the worst wildfire season and the worst drought we ever had. Scientists, have documented that was results from global warming. And they're clear that, if we're going to avoid worse impacts, more extreme weather, more rising heat. One thing I think people don't often think like, oh, Texas, it's just hot. That's just how it is. We just have to suck it up. But it didn't used to be this hot. It used to be in the 20th century that there'd be only about 12 days per year that hit 100 degrees. Since the 20th century, that's more than tripled. And scientists say if we don't reduce emissions, it's going to triple again. And Austin will be as hot as like Tucson, Arizona. So that I feel like extreme weather, all of that's horrible, of course, and kills people. But just in terms of your quality of life, like not being able to spend time outside, or just being afraid to go outside because it's just so miserably hot. Like what a loss to our quality of life in Texas if we don't stop that.
Let's go insider baseball into the Capitol. How long have you been there?
My first session was 2003.
Okay. Talk to me about...
This will be my 10th, yeah.
Your 10th. Well, if you work for the state, you'd be vested, but I'm sorry. Help our audience understand. You will go and testify at committees, which means the members are there on the dais. Generally, when a member of the public goes to testify, the committee members are always really polite, generally. However, as a lobbyist, they'll rake you over the coals. Can you give an example of kind of your hardest argument with someone? Who was it? What was it about?
Yeah, it was Dennis Bonnen about global warming.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think this was 2005 or 2007 maybe, but he was the chairman of the House Environmental Regulations Committee. And, he was well known for just being an asshole, right, to committee, to, lots of people, but including, people who testified before his committee. But, he just, he didn't know what he was talking about, but he just wanted to do a power play and try and, bully me on, on the stand. And so, or on the, at the witness, what do you call the thing? The pulpit, the podium,
the podium, or the penalty box.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that was awful.
How did your heart react, and were you sweaty, and did you think to yourself, be mindful, but talk me through your inner monologue?
I was terrified. I'm still terrified to this day, or sometimes, right? Because you're just always worried that some committee member will decide to just give you a hard time and ask some question that you don't know the answer to, or it's just he'd rather not talk about or whatever. So there's always that risk, right? So it's still still takes some balls to kind of get there and do it. But yeah, that time definitely I think was I was still definitely still in my 20s at that point, and this. Powerful man, telling me I didn't know what I was talking about, and so it was scary, and so I can't imagine then for somebody who's not paid to be there and doing this professionally, just how intimidating that is, and how that a deterrent that creates for the public participating in their democracy. So pretty terrible.
Luke, if it helps, and I know you've gotten past that agita and that anxiety, they don't know shit.
Yeah. It's really true. Yeah, I mean, there are some really smart people and some really educated people, but a lot of them, either aren't very smart, or they have to cover so many issue areas that there's no way they could be an expert in very many of them. And so generally, I feel like I'll know more than pretty much everyone on the dais. But yeah, occasionally you get somebody that either knows what they're talking about or wants to pretend, and to the public that they know what they're talking about.
So with the exception, go ahead, Aaron.
I was going to say, because their probably argument is that they're helping is that they empty their ice chest into the water once they're done fishing. That's their contribution. So I assure you, you're doing God's work, sir.
Thank you.
Despite what you think on our show, because Aaron and Chad were so smart about all these environmental
I
bills.
was so impressed. You guys,
Yeah.
yes.
Generally, the public does not, first of all, even know there is a legislature in Texas. I can't tell you how many people think Ted Cruz is a member of the Texas Ledge. But if you do know anything about the Texas Ledge, you only know the big bills, right? The election one, it's LGBT, guns, gods, and gays. That's all they know. So there are some environmental bills. Tell me what you wish people were doing at the legislature right now as a common citizen to move some of these not sexy but very important bills. How can they be successful? What's a win for them?
Well, I mean, I think the blackout is a perfect thing that people should have a personal stake in probably and should care about. Right now, it's clear that the primary reason for the blackouts was natural gas plants either froze and couldn't operate, or the gas wells froze and they couldn't get the gas supply to the power plants. And right now, I think there's a real danger that the electric and the oil and gas industry get off the hook from really any kind of real consequential changes, and we'll just be potentially repeating history again in a few years. I think there's some talk about kind of a lot of the public utility commissioners have been either resigned, and some of the ERCOT members resigned, et cetera. And a lot of that needed to happen. But if that's the only thing that happens, we're not really protecting ourselves against future blackouts. We're not taking action to reduce the pollution that's making extreme weather like this more frequent, more likely. But I think we know that a lot of the solutions to these problems are very popular, like solar and battery storage. Is very popular, and I think energy efficiency is hard to argue against. Even though we know reducing our energy use would have helped avoid a lot of blackouts. So electric vehicles are basically batteries on wheels that we potentially could use as battery or energy sources during blackouts, but also help reduce pollution from regular cars. And so a lot of solutions I think have a lot of support, but if the public doesn't speak out on them, I think there's a real risk that the legislature just sweeps the issue under the rug, just does some window dressing on the issue, lets the oil and gas industry off the hook, and we need to fight to make sure that doesn't happen.
What is Environment Texas' position on the repricing effort? Do you believe that should happen, or do you think that we should experience what a free market really is, Luke?
Yeah, it's a tough issue in terms of whether it was a mistake in the first place, and if it was a mistake, whether the repricing is a smart idea. So I don't know the answer to it. I think ERCOT argues that that Thursday morning where we got our power back, we lost power for like 3 days. That Thursday morning kind of power started to come back for a lot of people. And ERCOT argues that, power started to come back, but we weren't sure. We weren't going to just, go right back to blackouts. So we needed to make sure we had the generation coming on to make sure we ended the blackouts. And so they kept the prices high for like 30 hours. Some people say that was a mistake. And it may have been, clearly we didn't need to do that. And I think the bigger problem is the gas companies were price gouging. So San Antonio's utility is suing Energy Transfer Partners for basically, charging like 15,000 times the price of gas. And because the gas companies were paying or charging so much, a lot of the power plants didn't want to buy it, so they didn't come online. So I feel like that's the bigger issue. We need to make sure the gas companies, like Jerry Jones, from Dallas Cowboys, his gas company, they said hit the jackpot, during the blackout. But a lot of the attention hasn't been going to them, and I'm worried they're going to get off the hook. Chad, you were going to say something.
I'll make it fast. If I understand what happened, initially the power went down. The ERCOT recommended brownouts or rolling blackouts, which dropped demand so that the requirement wasn't there. We weren't going to force the grid offline, but that dropped the price. And then a pricing algorithm built into the grid decided that demand was too low and was going to shut off additional power. So that's why they spiked the price and to keep the algorithm from shutting the power off. But then they just never turned the price knob back down for an entire 72 hours, right?
That was part of the problem. Yeah, there were just like a whole series of compounding,
So we trusted technology the wrongest way possible at the wrongest time possible.
Well, yeah. And again, that's part of it. But I think the bigger issue is that oil and gas companies saw an opportunity to strike it rich and price gouged. And
but hold on. What's wrong with that? We purposely have a free market, which is how much are people willing to pay for something? And everything I learned in economics class, supply demand. I mean, you can't price gouge if people are willing to pay it.
Yeah, except in this case, it didn't work, right? We had blackouts for 3 days. 100 people died. And
111, but I mean,
right. And so you can't. I think there is some value in kind of market forces, in terms, but in this case, unregulated, unfettered, free market clearly failed Texas. And
you think with the public good, like water and electricity, maybe we should have some regulation?
I think we should. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. If you were Luke Skywalker, who in the legislature would be your father and who would be your mother?
Well, my father's Darth Vader, so that has to be Dan Patrick, right?
Yes, that's who I wrote in. Yes, and your mother.
My mother.
Let's see if I can imitate her.
Wait, so that's Natalie Portman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is my mother?
Padme.
Yeah. Yes.
Padme. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's cool. Gina Hinojosa?
Hey, that's pretty good. Well, I'll have to touch base with Gina. Thank you very much,
Natalie
Luke.
Portman, right?
You're right. She does, and she's kind, and I could see her believing in Dan Patrick, before.
Oh,
right, because they had to have been lovers.
I don't want to subject her to Dan Patrick. So.
Yeah, this will be on our OnlyFans page. Okay, Amy, take us home. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
She said only fan because there will be only one.
Thank you so much to Aaron and Chad. This is an old thing.
Right on the screen.
And our Over the Ledge benevolent empress, Stephanie Chiarello. Thank you. Thank you to Luke Metzger for taking time to talk to us. Thank you to Mariah Gossett for recording us and making us sound good. And to our lead correspondent intern who worked on tonight's show, who is
Lily Steinhauser, with assistance from Benedict Pox and Sam Holloman.
There we go.
And thank you to Amy Lowry, who guided us through this episode.
And that's our show. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok at Over the Ledge with no D. Freedom isn't free. It costs $1.05. So please consider supporting Over the Ledge with a contribution so we can keep edutaining you about the Texas legislature. You may become a patron here, patreon.com/overtheledge. And that's our show.
That's our show. Thank you. Thank you,
everybody.
Aaron.
To our winner.
Do a round.
Thanks,
Do a round. Aaron, thanks someone. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.